Hello, listeners. Welcome to the Pre-Market Update. The podcast is powered by AI. I'm Joe.
And I'm Sarah. Today is February 19th, 2026. Let's dive in.
Market overview. It looks like we are set for a positive start here in Mumbai. The GIFT Nifty is currently trading around the 25,853 level, which puts us at about a 25-point premium over the Nifty Futures previous close. Yesterday was quite a milestone for the domestic markets, particularly for the Nifty PSU Bank Index. It hit a record high of 9,647, marking its third consecutive session of gains. We saw all 12 constituents of that index ending in the green, with Punjab National Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, and Union Bank leading the charge. This rally is really being underpinned by strong earnings and robust credit growth, which seems to have calmed earlier nerves regarding government borrowing plans. Looking at the broader Sensex and Nifty 50, we're seeing a bit of a cautious but firm start. In terms of F&O cues, the market sentiment remains bullish as we hover near these resistance levels. Keep a close eye on Cochin Shipyard and Dr. Reddy's today, as they are expected to see significant volume based on recent filings. We are also seeing a shift in the Sell India narrative. While foreign institutional investors have been flip-flopping, the domestic resilience, especially in value stocks and the PSU space, is providing a very strong floor for the indices. If the GIFT Nifty holds these gains, we could see the Nifty 50 attempting to breach new intraday psychological levels fairly early in the session.
International markets, moving over to the global stage, Joe, things are looking quite vibrant. Wall Street had a solid session overnight with all three major indices, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and the Dow, ending higher. The tech sector was the heavy lifter there, rebounding after some recent volatility. Interestingly, despite the talk of tariffs and America First policies, foreign buying of U.S. stocks actually jumped 134% in 2025. It seems international investors aren't ready to sell America just yet, pouring a net $1.6 trillion into U.S. assets. In Asia this morning, the sentiment is echoing that Wall Street optimism. South Korea's Kospi has actually jumped to a record high today as regional markets return from the Lunar New Year break. Over in Japan, the Nikkei is showing strength, although the yen has had its worst day this month due to a broad dollar rally. In Europe, the FTSE, DAX, and CAC 40 are expected to open steadily as they digest the latest U.S. economic data. On the commodities front, gold is steadying around recent highs after a 2% jump on Wednesday, as traders pivot their focus toward the Federal Reserve's next move. Oil is also holding on to its gains, following its biggest jump since October, which is something our Indian oil importers will be watching closely.
Business story. India. Back home, the corporate landscape is buzzing. One of the standout stories is the Bandhan Small Cap Fund. They've managed to beat 93% of their peers over the last year by betting on what they call deep value internet stocks. They're looking at those fast-growing but recently beaten down Indian internet firms as the next big cycle play. It's a bold move considering how volatile that sector has been. In the banking sector, we have to talk about the sheer momentum of the PSU banks. Punjab National Bank and Union Bank are seeing massive interest because their credit growth is outperforming expectations even in a high-interest rate environment. We're also keeping a close eye on the pharmaceutical space with Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. They are in focus today, following updates on their product pipeline and international regulatory approvals. Finally, in the infrastructure and defense space, Cochin Shipyard remains a top mover. The market is reacting to their increasing order book and the government's continued push for Atmanirbhar Bharat in naval defense. These Nifty 50 heavyweights are really the ones defining the index movement right now.
International business story. On the international corporate front, we've seen some massive moves in the US and Europe. Etsy shares popped 14% after they announced the sale of Depop to eBay for $1.2 billion. It's a strategic move to let Etsy focus back on its core handmade marketplace. Speaking of 14% jumps, DoorDash also saw a massive reversal. Even though they missed on earnings and revenue, Investors piled back in because of their ambitious plans for AI and autonomous delivery tech. In the travel sector, Booking Holdings is making waves with a stock split. This comes after an incredible 16,800% jump over the years, making it one of the priciest stocks on the US market. Meanwhile, in Japan, Mizuho Securities is facing some heat. They've been dropped from another yen bond deal following an investigation into suspected insider trading. And we can't ignore the design software giant Figma, which saw its stock jump 15%. They are finally successfully monetizing their AI tools, which is a major signal for the rest of the software-as-a-service industry. It shows that companies are willing to pay a premium if the AI integration actually adds tangible value.
Economics and geopolitics. Turning to the macro picture, Joe, the broadening out of the market is the big theme. Morgan Stanley's Mike Wilson is suggesting we are in a brand new economic cycle, with parts of the economy that were mired in a mini-recession finally emerging. However, the Federal Reserve remains the elephant in the room. While some traders are betting on a June rate cut, there is a growing conversation about the possibility of rates staying higher for longer, or even, dare I say, a hike if inflation doesn't cool as expected. For India, the RBI's stance remains pivotal. We are watching how they balance domestic growth with the global dollar strength. Geopolitically, the world is holding its breath as high-stakes talks begin between the U.S. and Iran, alongside ongoing negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. Any sign of de-escalation there could send oil prices lower, which would be a massive fiscal win for the Indian government. Conversely, any breakdown in talks will likely spike volatility across emerging markets.
Key takeaways. To wrap things up for our listeners, here are the 3 things you need to know before the bell rings. First, the Gift Nifty is signaling a positive start, so expect some early strength in the Sensex and Nifty 50. Second, the PSU banking rally is far from over. Keep an eye on the volume in PNB and Union Bank as they lead the charge. And finally, keep a global eye on the US Fed minutes and the US-Iran talks. These will be the primary drivers for currency and commodity volatility throughout the day.
That wraps up today's update. I hope you gained useful insights for your trading day.
Add your thoughts in the comments and follow us for more such updates. This is Sarah.
And Joe, signing off. Stay sharp out there.